Hi everybody, and welcome to AQ's Blog and Grill. We're happy to have Loren Padelford with us here today. Now Loren is the new VP of Sales with a company called Shopify Plus. Now if you haven't heard of Shopify and Shopify Plus, you should, because they're going to change the landscape. They're already changing the landscape in e-commerce, and it's a Canadian company, and we're very excited. So welcome, Loren.
Thank you very much. I'm excited to be here.
Good. So tell us a little bit about the Shopify and then the Shopify Plus story. How did all this get started, and what is it that you guys are doing that is creating all of this change?
Sure, that's a good question. And it started with our founder, Toby, and his desire to sell snowboards.
Yes.
And he tried to figure out how to sell snowboards. He tried to buy software, and he couldn't buy software to allow him to sell snowboards.
Right.
So being the clever software engineer that he is, he wrote his own, along with our co-founders. And so Shopify is an e-commerce platform that allows entrepreneurs of all sizes, whether you're starting up at home or you're an entrepreneur that works inside of a Fortune 500 company,
right,
to start a store, run a store, manage an online store, selling products, locally or globally.
Yeah.
So we're the back end that powers all that capability. And Shopify Plus is then the enterprise version. So Shopify was started to help entrepreneurs start companies,
right,
and grow those companies. Shopify Plus allows them to grow larger and allows large brands to also run global e-commerce capabilities on Shopify.
Wow. And you guys, as we look you up on Google, you've probably heard of them. They're a search engine.
Small company.
Yeah, exactly. If we look up Shopify in the Google app, ecosystem, you guys are rated as number 1 or number 2 in the world.
Yeah.
So, whoa, congratulations.
Yeah. Thank you. And it's, we're very happy, and we're rated that because of our customers. 243,000 merchants worldwide run on Shopify. There's over $10 billion that have gone through Shopify since its inception.
Amazing.
So it's quite a big ecosystem, and we're constantly trying to make that better.
Yeah. So what is it that makes Shopify more unique than the competition or better than the competition? What is the secret sauce, if you will, that Shopify and then Shopify Plus is adding to those merchants?
So that's a good question, and I think it comes down to experience, user experience. The nice part about what Shopify does versus, say, Amazon is Shopify lets you own a store and lets you control the store. Mm-hmm. You're not putting your products on Shopify.com and then we're selling it for you.
Right.
You're putting it on Query.com and selling it yourself. Yeah. So you get to decide how it looks and functions and feels, so you can tailor it to the experience of your local region.
There you go.
And that's super powerful because it lets you be the entrepreneur and it doesn't rely on us trying to figure out your region for you. So it's very powerful software that's very easy to use.
Right.
And so if you have no technical background and you want to start selling the jacket you're wearing, your ability to go on Shopify, start a store, right, take a picture of that, load it up, and sell it online, I mean, you could do that in an hour. Wow. And so we've given people what has been very expensive capabilities, very cost effectively, very easy to use. And I think that's why we have so many happy customers.
Yeah, easy to use. Now, is that as important to the enterprise customer?
It's probably more important to the enterprise customer.
Because?
Their history with software is not good.
Right.
We all know the companies out there who sell large, big ticket items that take forever to implement and are a pain to try and manage.
Right.
And so what's fascinating is if you're the enterprise, there's still people. Mm-hmm. And so we go to work for the enterprise, we use these tools that are hard to use, and we go home and use tools that are easy to use. And we wonder, why is that the case?
Yeah.
And so I think it's probably more valuable that it's easy to use for the enterprise than the entrepreneur.
Right. Yeah. So what's the market space in terms of geography that Shopify and Shopify Plus are operating in? Is this a North American play? Have you expanded beyond the geographical borders of North America?
We have customers in 170 countries.
170?
Yeah, so we have customers all over the world, which is fascinating because commerce and retail is different in geographic regions.
Yeah.
So we really get this really interesting perspective on shopping worldwide. We feel like consumers these days want a relationship with the products that they buy and the manufacturers that make them. Clearly there are commodities that it's like, if you want to buy toilet paper and stuff like that,
Right.
But for most of our bigger ticket, more involved processes, we want to know who made it. And so our platform allows you as the manufacturer and maker to have a one-on-one relationship with your consumer. Right. And we feel like that changes that dynamic greatly.
Yeah, and let's face it, Loren, this is this economy is based on customer experience.
Yep.
And I mean, Joe Pine wrote about this in 1999 in a Harvard Business Review with a partner saying, okay, we're now in the experience economy,
Totally.
which people kind of went, well, I don't know. Oh, well, now we know because the customer has all of the power to go where they want, buy where they want.
I think we're at this really interesting time in history. So commerce has been the same for thousands of years. The merchants controlled the entire experience.
Right.
You had to come to them to get products, and wherever they were was how it happened. Whatever products they had was what was available.
Yeah.
Well, in the last 10 years, that's done a complete 180.
Right.
Now the consumers run everything. So the consumers want it where they want it, when they want it, how they want it, as fast as they want it. They want to be able to give it back. They want it on their phones. They want it on their computers. They want to walk into a store. They want to buy it on the phone. The dynamicism is just exponentially growing.
Yeah.
That combined with entrepreneurship, right? Which is just, it's always been a thing, but as the economy changes and as technology advances, the ability to become an entrepreneur has become much easier.
Yes.
And so with tools like Shopify, you can start a store and start selling things and become a business in hours instead of weeks, months, years as it used to take.
Yeah.
And so those two things we think create a really interesting, vortex of change, right?
Yes.
Which is commerce is just different from now on.
Yeah.
And entrepreneurs become more valuable because people want to relate to the other side.
Yeah. And if I have a choice between a faceless corporation who may or may not be evil and being able to really personalize the relationship and personalize the exchange, I think I would do that.
Yeah.
Now, what are the most popular categories? If I'm a Shopify entrepreneur, what am I likely to be? What am I selling? What are people buying?
So it's really interesting. The breadth of merchant, of seller on Shopify is enormous. Everything from, a maker who knits hats in their basement and sells them online, to Procter & Gamble.
Yeah.
All sell on Shopify. And so that gives us a huge variety of things. The biggest categories are things like fashion. So your fashion designer, hats, t-shirts, dresses, shoes, whatever it happens to be, huge category. It's also just a huge category online.
Right.
Electronics manufacturers, Kickstarter programs, the guys who are making these cool little widgets and toys and drones and all this kind of stuff, big sellers on Shopify. Food and beverage. One of our biggest customers is Budweiser.
No kidding.
Yeah, who sells beer online, right, in various countries around the world. And organics manufacturers and things like that. So it really is fascinating what people sell online and sell on Shopify. And some of the biggest categories are things you'd never think of. Like there's a number of very large sellers on Shopify that sell hair extensions.
Okay.
Tens of millions of dollars a year on hair extensions. It's like, this is fascinating that this is a market.
Yeah.
Globally, anything's a market, right? Because there's so many buyers, right? So that's, I think, one of the advantages now of being an entrepreneur and using something like Shopify is before you'd start a store on Main Street and you had access to the geographic people that walked by your store.
Right.
Now I can take that same product and within a day expose it to the whole world.
Right.
And so that's very powerful.
Okay. Now, what kind of programming does Shopify do? And then we'll talk about Shopify Plus. What kind of programs do you offer to these entrepreneurs to help them make a better business or to be successful as a seller?
Yeah, so we actually do a lot. So we have a very big blog / Shopify University, which is just chock full of videos and blog articles about how to make your store better, how to optimize it, where to get products from, all these kinds of things, so that the entrepreneurs can come and learn how to be an entrepreneur online.
Right.
We do something called the Retail Tour, which is where we send Shopify, we call them Shopafolk, all over North America and around the world to meet consumers and meet merchants face to face and show them how the technology works and do workshops and things of that nature. Yeah. We also have our customer support group who takes calls from all over the world. There's hundreds of them, and they help merchants, use our tools better. So we are actively trying to help people learn how to be an entrepreneur, because most of us don't come out knowing how to do that.
Right. No, of course not. Now, how are you doing that then on the Shopify Plus approach to enterprise?
So there's another group of entrepreneurs. They're just big ones, right? And so that's the way we look at it is the enterprises want to be entrepreneurial.
Right.
They want to be nimble and fast and creative. They want to act like entrepreneurs.
Right.
And so we're giving them those capabilities. And so what we go and do is we try and help them be entrepreneurial.
Yeah.
You might work for General Electric, but you're still a person, and you might work in a very entrepreneurial group at General Electric, and we want to help enable that entrepreneurism even inside large companies.
Right.
And so we don't really draw a delineation between the two groups. Everyone wants to act like an entrepreneur, and we're trying to help.
Yeah. So what are some of the more recent success stories then, Loren, of how you've been successful with Shopify Plus to bring out that entrepreneurial mindset into actual success stories?
Sure. I'll give you a great example, which is Mondelez. And so if you're not familiar with Mondelez, giant $30 billion packaged goods company.
Okay.
They own Oreos.
Oh, well, there you
Right?
go.
Everyone knows who Oreos is.
There we are.
So they wanted to do this really innovative campaign with Oreos where they let you customize the packaging that your Oreos came in.
Nice.
It was called Oreo Colorfied.
Yeah.
And so what this meant is you had to have the ability to go online and pick the package and then pick the colors and pick the pictures and pick it. So there are millions of potential options that you could come up with that allowed you to get custom packaged Oreos. And so they internally said, they have every vendor in the world that helps them, all the software, and their internal team said this is going to take 2 years for us to build the program and get the website ready and get ready to sell it. And this was last year. They said if only we could be ready for Christmas. So they came to us and we talked about what we could do. And we took a 2-year program and made it 2 months. And so they were live for Christmas selling custom-made Oreo packaging by the millions, got lots and lots of press.
Right.
Could not understand how we were able to do that at their scale. I mean, it was just we wrote a case study on it.
Yeah.
Just a fabulous example of a very large company trying to act like an entrepreneur.
Right.
And we gave them the tools to do that.
Yeah.
Right? And so that's where we see our success. And so Plus has been around for 18 months.
Okay.
It's grown from 3 people to over 100. That work just for Plus, and over 1,000 customers now trust Plus with their e-commerce world.
Excellent. So as you've grown the Shopify Plus team from 1 to 100, what are the 100 people doing?
That's a good question.
I mean, you should know.
Yeah, I should know. Hopefully I know. Everything. So, you can think about Plus as a startup inside of Shopify.
There you go.
So we have design and UX, we have engineering, we have sales, we have account management, we have recruiting, we have operations. We have anything a company would have, Plus has.
Yeah.
And so we treat it like a startup because while it's on the same mission as Shopify, make commerce better for everybody, it has a slightly different customer group. And so we chose to act like a startup and act entrepreneurial inside of what is now a fairly large business.
Yeah, isn't that great? I mean, I think what is going to happen, Loren, I think we're seeing it happen already, is that unless larger organizations start to act like startups, have the same feeling, they're going to be left behind and they'll become roadkill. They're just going to get run over by organizations who are being entrepreneurial, who are being agile, who are taking that 2-year time frame and saying, we'll have you ready for Christmas.
Yeah. And I think you see that. And you see it, I think it gets talked a lot about in retail, right? Bricks and mortar to online. And I think that's too simplistic.
Yep.
But what it is old world thinking clashing with new world.
Yeah.
And the traditional offline retailers, the retailers we all grew up with, are struggling to understand how to compete against pure e-tailers and online. And so that's where we come in and saying you can. You just have to start thinking differently and using different technology.
Yeah.
I think I love at the end of every TV commercial or radio ad for investor advice, it says past performance is not indicative of future performance. Yes. And I always think that's the greatest tagline for commerce is what you've done does not guarantee what you'll do. Right. And commerce is just proving that constantly.
Yeah. So what's going to be next then for Shopify and Shopify Plus? I mean, you guys have kind of gotten into a whole new territory. It's like the wild, wild west.
Yeah.
And you're trying to stake your claim and you're trying to get return on, that investment. But there's still, it's still going to be rapid change. So what are you seeing coming up in the near future?
I mean, I think we see a lot of technological advances. So take things like VR. right? AI, mobile, social commerce, conversational commerce, commerce via text messaging, things like that. Like, there's just so much movement around based on these phones that we all carry and this technology that's so new about how shopping's going to work. Right. And so, Toby has a great saying, which is like, there are two types of people in the world related to virtual reality. Those who think it's going to change the world and those who haven't tried it. Right? And I think that's great because I don't know how you can see virtual reality and not realize it's going to change everything we do. Right? Shopping used to be work. I had to get out of my house and get in my car and go to a place, and then I had to look at stuff, and then maybe they had it, maybe they didn't. And so what technology has done is reduce the workload for shopping, and so the goal is reduce it to near zero. Is like, you don't like, you can now with things like Siri and stuff, you just tell them to buy you things, right? And it just like shows up, and so I don't have to do anything anymore, right? Fascinating.
That is a huge cultural thing.
Yeah, maybe good, maybe bad. I mean, I don't know.
But it's
It
changed.
is definitely the way we want to do it.
Yeah, it's changed that's happening. So in your programs to help your Shopify Plus customers and your Shopify retailers, you'll probably sooner or later be saying, okay, here's how a drone delivery service could work.
Yeah.
It's not ours,
but
here's a way for you to think about the logistics.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Wow.
And we did an experiment with not drones, but with Uber. Right, for delivery. So we did Uber Rush. We were the first company in the world to partner with Uber for delivery service in New York. And that's another example of looking at logistics in a completely different way. There's Uber drivers everywhere. And if they can show up at your store and bring you a package, why wouldn't you do that? Why do I have to wait for UPS or FedEx when I have Uber everywhere?
Yeah.
So
that you're giving then the e-tailer and your enterprise customers, you're giving them the flexibility to make sure their customers are happier sooner.
Well, we're giving them the power to engage the customer where the customer wants.
Yeah. How about that?
Yeah.
Well, you guys can't fail.
Well, I mean,
this is a sure thing, Loren.
It's a very exciting company. We do a lot of very cool stuff.
Yeah. And you've gone public.
We went public a year ago,
Yeah. And so I can buy shares.
You can.
You can buy shares too at home. Just tune into what's your listing on the New York Stock Exchange?
Shop.
Oh my God, it's so easy.
It's so easy.
And you're the best at it. According to third parties, you guys are the best.
Well, we strive really hard to give our customers the best tools. Absolutely.
Loren?
Alan, thanks very much.
Thank you. So, Canada, pay attention. Listen up. Start using Shopify connected retailers. Thanks again. Bye for now.
AQ's Blog and Grill.